Hello everyone, this is Houndawg again, flying with you in another historical aircraft from the past 100 years of U.S. Navy carrier aviation. But before we start today's flight, I should take a moment to recognize another important aircraft in the chronological history of U.S. carrier operations. Unfortunately, we do not have a flying model of the Vought VE-7 Bluebird that first flew in 1917 as a two-seat trainer. The VE-7 was later adopted by the United States Navy as its very first fighter aircraft. A Bluebird flown by Lieutenant Virgil Griffin made history on October 17, 1922, when it became the first aircraft to take off from the deck of a commissioned aircraft carrier, the USS Langley CV-1. Between 1922 and 1928, the Navy's first fighter squadron, VF-2, used VE-7s to experiment with carrier operations from the Langley off the coast of California. Now with that bit of information, let's start today's flight. Today is 17 January 1925, and we will be flying the courteous F6C Hawk from the Naval Air Station, North Island, San Diego, to an arrested landing and launch on the USS Langley. Clear prop.
Radio check. 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. Radio check. In 1925, the Curtiss F6C Hawk was designed and manufactured by the Curtiss Airplane and Motor Company of Hammondsport, New York, as a U.S. Navy land-based version of the U.S. Army's Curtiss P-1 Hawk fighter. Later Navy production models were strengthened and modified for aircraft carrier operations. The F6Cs were assigned a fighter role with VF-2 and VF-1 operating from the aircraft carriers USS Langley CV-1 and USS Lexington CV-2. The F6C Hawk was a single-piloted tail-dragger biplane with staggered wooden wings, a cloth-covered tubular steel fuselage, and fixed landing gear. It was 22 feet long with a wingspan of over 37 feet and a maximum takeoff weight of 3,200 pounds. The F6C Hawk was initially powered by the Curtiss V1150 D12 engine. The D12 was water-cooled with a V12 cylinder all-aluminum block producing over 435 horsepower. It is interesting to note that the later engines produced by Rolls-Royce, Packard, and Junkers were all based on the Curtiss D12 design. In 1925, the Navy decided that water-cooled engines such as the Curtiss D12 were too difficult to maintain at sea, and beginning in 1928, passed most of the early F6C models to the Marines for use as land-based fighter bombers. New production orders for the F6C called for the 410 horsepower Pratt & Whitney R1340 Wasp 9-cylinder radial engine. By 1930, the remaining F6Cs had been transferred to land-based Marine fighter squadrons. The Hawk's performance was good for the period with a maximum speed of 134 knots, a range of 655 miles, and a service ceiling of almost 23,000 feet. The armament included two vintage World War I 30 caliber Browning machine guns mounted on the fuselage nose and light bombs on underwing racks. The air-cooled radio-powered Hawk maintained similar performance with the inline D-12, but sacrificed a reduced range to 360 miles. During the early days of aircraft carrier operations development, a question was asked of how bombing by carrier aircraft could be made more effective. Lieutenant Commander Frank Wagner, then commanding officer of Fighting II Squadron, demonstrated the concept of dive bombing, and on 22 October 1925, he led his VF-2 F6Cs on a successful mock attack on Pacific Fleet ships underway. Although the ships had been warned in advance of the attack, Wagner's F6C Hawks came in high and unseen, nosed over, and from 12,000 feet screamed down upon their unaware victims and made simulated drops before the ship's anti-aircraft guns could be manned. Many of the dive bombing techniques and tactics developed in the Curtiss F6C Hawk are still used today. In 1927, the Red Rippers from Fighter Squadron 5 used their F6Cs to perform aerial aerobatics for airshow audiences. By 1929, many of the radial engine-powered F6C Hawks were used in a training role, and in that same year, a group of flight instructors from VT5 formed a flight demonstration team at Pensacola, Florida, the current home of the Navy Blue Angels. The team perfected many precision aerobatic maneuvers, including the Parvo, which a version is still flown today by the Blue Angels.